Reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and I'm reading from Young's literal translation. Chapter 12. To boast really is not profitable for me, for I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I have known a man in Christ 14 years ago, whether in the body I have not known, whether out of the body I have not known. God hath known, such a one being caught up into the third heaven. And I have known such a man, whether in the body or whether out of body, I have not known, but God hath known, that he was caught away to paradise, and he heard unutterable sayings, that is not possible for man to speak. Top of the morning to you. I hope you're all fine and dandy and staying ahead of the game. Remember, it is a game, and each one of us must play our part. Today we're going to look at the upper realm, the middle realm, and the lower realm. And the purpose of this video is to show that London itself, London in England, which is the bar society that rules the world, London has set over itself Hercules, which is the middle heaven. So we're going to look at the middle heaven, and I'm going to speak about the middle heaven today. And I want you to take a look at this video. You can see for yourself that Orion has been overlaid over the whole of London. And unless you have an understanding of the three levels of heaven, the third heaven, the upper realm, the middle realm, and that which is known as the lower realm, then you will never escape this matrix or be able to beat it. You see, because the law is written in heaven, not in paper or on stone, but in heaven. The middle heaven, or the second heaven, is what we call the ecliptic portion of the sky. In this area we find the 12 houses, the sun, the moon, and Orion. They pass through this portion of the sky daily, the second heaven. Hence Jesus' words, take up your cross daily. These 12 houses and the other asterisms in this portion of the sky pass through the ecliptic, but they never rise up into the third heaven. They never enter the circle of the north celestial pole towards Polaris, because this is the ones who kept not their first estate in the letter of Jude. This portion of the sky, the second celestial heaven, where the 12 houses and the wandering stars, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter and Venus travel, this is the area known as the second heaven. They are called the planets, Greek planes, which means to wander, because they fell from their upper estate, the first house, their first estate, which is the North Celestial Pole. At one time, they too would have circled Polaris with its 7 luminaries. And those seven luminaries, or 7 lights that circle Polaris, are Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, which is Polaris, Lyra, Hercules, Cygnus 1, the House of Cephas, and Cassiopeia, which are combined, and Draco, the great dragon, that gave power to the beast. This area of the upper portion of the sky where the 7 luminaries are is the first estate, those who kept not their first estate. This is known as the third heaven, which Paul talks about in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Like I said, the purpose of this video is not to show what's going on in the upper realm, but to highlight the purpose of the third heaven, and to show that it has been projected on the second house, the second heaven, the ecliptic has been projected over London, as you can see in this video. Below Orion, below the second house, below the second heaven, not house, sorry, but below the second heaven, below Orion's belt, what we see there is everything that is lost at sea or lying in state, dead. While we remain focused on this material world and self, we cannot ascend up into the North Celestial Pole, to paradise. Just like Orion and the wandering stars, who were in rebellion to the laws of the upper celestial world, so we too, because the way they have set things in London, are physically in rebellion to the upper celestial world, to the ways of Eden. The upper celestial world, the pole star, is the tree of life, and everything flows from the tree down. Everything below the tree, below the second level, the second heaven, is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Immediately under Orion, who is the rebel, the biblical Nimrod, sits the great river Eridanus. The river Eridanus was also known as the River of Souls, or the River of Hades, which took the rebellious souls down into the underworld, Tartarus. As I've said on many previous posts, Orion is the captain of the ship, the Argo Navis, the state citizenship. He and Osiris are one and the same being. They're one and the same. So Orion, or Osiris, the Lord of the dead and the living, represents you, the dead legal fiction. The dead legal fiction, or the dead works, as the scriptures speak about. It is you, the rebel within you, which ultimately must be crucified. That crucifixion happens before Orion. We have to crucify ourselves as we come off the Argos Navi, and you'll see there to the left of the Argus Navi is the Southern Cross, where we crucify ourselves. Now, what does crucifixion mean? It means the denial or the withdrawal from this material, physical and temporal world, especially anything that's legal, because it's not lawful. We're supposed to remove ourselves. That's what crucifixion is. Removing ourselves from the material world that keeps us in bond. It's a crucifixion from a legal bondage and all things which physically may cause harm, decay or death. If we don't get off the Argus Navi, their citizenship, we go back down the rabbit hole. You know, we've been made to repeat these phrases because it's all in the heavens, and we're meant to look in the heavens. Down the rabbit hole is Lepus the hare. I've said this many times in many of my posts. Lepus the hare takes us back down into death. If we don't get off their citizenship, the Argus Navi, we go back down the rabbit hole. Lepus the hare, we get nothing. The air, we don't get anything. The hare, the air, we get nothing from the system if we don't get off the boat. And on top of that, we have to pay the ferryman. And that is where our wealth and inheritance goes. Back to the state, down to London. Via Orion, to the Puppis deck. It all lies in state, because you refuse to live. And so therefore, according to the system, you are presumed dead and lost at sea. In this video, you can see that Orion has been brought down from the celestial second heaven. He has been brought down with the crown, and he has positioned himself over London, the underworld. This is how they keep everyone in this world in bondage, in chains, tied to their celestial ship, the Argo Navi. They've overlaid Orion over London, the parliaments, the bar, the Whitechapel, which are all terms for the North Celestial Pole and the Milky Way, the great white house and throne of God in the third heaven. Think about it. Even the White Houses in Russia and America and Whitechapel in London, they're all named after the North Celestial Pole, the throne of God. They're claiming to be the authority of the upper heaven, the third heaven which Paul talks about. They're claiming to be the authority of God, and they brought that authority down into the underworld, where everybody buys into it with their birth certificates, driving license, car registrations. So you see, in order to beat this legal system, in order to take back sovereignty, we need to know the three levels of heaven. Because if we're not familiar with it, we'll just fall into their schemes and be trapped by another method. On the other hand, if we learn the details, the intricate details of the heavens, and see that these are projected over the entire earth, then we can possibly deal with this legal fraud. We can deal with this legal fraud. Because the law, and everything of the law, is written in heaven, in the third heaven, the North Celestial Pole. We need to beat this system. We do. But the only way I believe that we can do that is by knowing intimately what is going on in each of the levels of heaven up there, as our ancestors seen it. This is all recorded in Celtic tradition.